Here's your opportunity to learn more about Avery County. It's the Avery Good Life, exclusively on MTN 18.
Hi, this is Cindy Peters with the Avery County Historical Society and Museum. This is the original Avery County Jail. It was built in 1913 and it served its Avery County's jail until 1972. In 1976, a lot of great folks from Avery County established the first Avery County Historical Society Museum. And let's go inside. I've got some things to show you. We're here inside the Avery County Museum. In the old days, when this was a jail, there would have been a jailer that lived here with his family and his children, and there would have been an office here for the magistrate. And when prisoners would be brought in to go to jail, they would come through this front door, they'd sign in, and they'd be taken right upstairs and locked up. The families that lived here, children grew up here, and there's some interesting stories about family life in a jail. Let's go upstairs. In this room, this was the children's bedroom. The jailer's children or grandchildren would sleep in this room. Today we have this room. It's our textile exhibit. It's also a mid to late 1800 bedroom, typical of what you would find in a home in that time period. And we've got some beautiful old textiles in here. Mid 1800s, early 1800s. In this room, originally this room was used as a reception area for prisoners that were in the cells. Their family would come in and visit with them. But today we have our education exhibit here. I don't know if any of you know this, many of you do. At some point in Avery County we had 47 schools. Every community had its own school. We had, I believe, 4 high schools. We had literally a school in every community. And today we've got 1 high school, 2 middle schools, and a handful of elementary schools. But let's take a look at the jail cell next. Here in the jail, we have a nice exhibit on moonshining. And the reason we felt the need for that information and that education was many people that were incarcerated were here for one of 3 reasons: making liquor, drinking liquor, or selling liquor. So we have, I believe we have 4 stills here at the museum. And of course, they're not operable, but they are quite interesting about how the process is done. I think we even have a recipe here. Have to come by and maybe we can check that out. Let's take a look at the cells. We have 4 jail cells here. Some of these have 4 bunks, some have 2 bunks, and one here has just 1 bunk. It's interesting, we have a lot of graffiti on the walls, and we've tried to preserve that. I guess when you're in prison, in jail, you run out of things to do, so you like to etch things on the walls. Now here in the jail, of course you had to have restroom facilities, so there was 1 toilet and sink for most of these prisoners. But like I said, the prisoner that didn't play well with others had his own cell, and he had his own toilet too. There's a main jail door here at where the cells are, and by day this door would be opened and all these prisoners in here could sort of meander around in this space. They of course would have the main door locked. But people could bring their chairs out and they'd sit and look out the window and watch what was going on in Newland at the time. So they had a little bit of freedom. An interesting story, there was a little girl here that lived with her family, and she was maybe 4 or 5 years old. And one of the prisoners one day asked her if she knew where her father kept the keys. She said, "Oh yeah, I know where the keys are." He says, "Would you mind getting them for me?" And she did. And he unlocked the door and took a walk. So that was a pretty good story. We're now standing in what originally was the living room for the jailer's family, but today we have a medical exhibit here, and another uncommon fact that you might not know about doctors in Avery County. Cranberry, at the turn of the century, had, I believe, 5 or 7 doctors that practiced in the little community of Cranberry. Now, we have had we have a rich culture of doctors and nurses and midwives, early hospitals. So many people think, oh, you live in Avery County, it's so rural, it's so backwoods. But we were quite well educated and very well medically taken care of. We're now standing in what used to be the kitchen. There was a back door that went out to the back porch, and from there you could go out into the garden or out to collect eggs at the hen house. We have an exhibit here on the military, on the wars that so many of our Avery Countyans participate in, you know, from the Revolutionary War to the Vietnam War and the Gulf War. And many Avery County folks served in those wars. We also have the pleasure of having Hugh Morton's camera that he carried in World War II. He was a fantastic photographer, and we're very lucky to have this on display right now. We also have Lieutenant Colonel Sam Ray, who was a jet pilot in the Vietnam War, and we have his helmet here and a model of the type of plane that he would have flown. We have many uniforms here from World War II, Vietnam War. We're very fortunate to have artifacts like this that we can put out on display for the kids to enjoy and the adults too. We are here in the women's jail cell. You can see it's not a very large space. And today we have a farm equipment, farm tools. That's the exhibit we have in here today. But basically this is where your women would have been jailed, locked in. There was a shower in this cell. There was also a toilet. But of course we have that sort of blocked off right now. But women were incarcerated just like men, and they could have been incarcerated for keeping a messy house. Thank God we don't have that today. The Avery County Museum will open in April. We'll be open Fridays and Saturdays, 10 to 4. You can reach us at 828-733-7111. Or you can also check us out on averymuseum.com. We've got plenty to show you here. Be sure and have a couple hours available because there's so much research here and so much information and so many pictures. We'd love to have you. If you have any questions, give us a call, give us an email, and this has been one more moment of Avery County history. Thank you.
Here's your opportunity to learn more about Avery County. It's the Avery Good Life, exclusively on MTN 18.